And I've got a toilet here for chugging along.
Hello there and welcome to Chugging Along with me, Tim.
And I'm Sam.
So yeah, thank you very much for your comments in our last video. We really appreciate them and love going through them. And actually we've had two special mentions this week. It's been very exciting. The first one is from Curve 2 Theatre, who made a remix of one of our Chugging Along songs. And seriously, the fact that you took the time out to do that is, yeah, really humbling, and it's really cool. And honestly, you took an awful song and made it not bad. So yeah, that's much appreciated.
It means a lot to us. Thank you very much.
And also, yeah, we've had a bit of celebrity this week. We've been mentioned on another vlog on YouTube called Narrowboat Vlog of Vlogs. Yeah, it's run by a man called Jack. And he goes through discussing all of the other narrowboat YouTubers.
Next, Chugging Along. This is a pretty new one. I don't think they've even been out more than 2 or 3 months. It's a very nice couple that, on the younger side, I'd say in their 20s, late 20s maybe. And they've been living abroad where they met, and they both teach English to foreign students. They have bought this narrowboat as a place to live in England, and they still do teaching English, but it's all online and remote. The name of their boat is the Mary L.
Yeah, it was really cool to be mentioned in that, and where you live in Florida as well looks absolutely gorge. So yeah, cheers for that, mate. And
Thanks very much, Jack.
By the way, keep trucking.
So on to today's video. So we've been teasing it. We mentioned it at the end of the last video, and we know that you've all been looking forward to it. So today's video is dedicated to our new compost toilet. So we'll be taking some time to go through that with you today. But obviously we had to get it delivered to us, and if everyone knows, when you're on a narrowboat, it's quite difficult getting things delivered because not always having a fixed address. But thank you very much to Henry and Abby. Henry's Tim's brother and Abby's his wife, and they were very good to actually get the package delivered to their house and look after it for us, and then deliver it to us, as you would have seen at the beginning of this video. So thanks very much for that.
Where do you want it? Bow, stern?
Bow, please. Oh, stern, sorry, stern. Got that mixed up there.
What are compost toilets?
So a compost toilet is a bit different from normal toilets that we know, because they are waterless. So they don't use water, they're not plumbed in. So the way in which they work is, usually you have your waste collected, and the waste you can then use, you can compost it if you want, if you are that way inclined.
I mean, YouTube does have merchandising opportunities, doesn't it? We could make our own compost.
Maybe we can make our own compost. We will see. But usually with a compost toilet, you might either have, you might collect the waste separately. So you might have the solids and the liquids collected separately, or you might just have them all collected in one, and you can then compost the materials afterwards later on. But the one that we've gone with has a separate liquid and a separate solid section.
Yeah.
So the advantage of that, we've heard it's quite good, because then it makes it easier for disposing.
Yeah.
Because you can then deal with your liquids separately. I've seen that some people actually take to just pouring the liquids behind hedges or bushes, or maybe taking them into public loos as well.
Yeah, and you can just pour it down.
Yeah, just pour it down public loo if you want to. And then the solids, most people, from what we've seen, basically they just bag everything up, double bag, or at least a few bags, and then just dispose of it in the bins that are provided by the CRT. So that is basically what having a compost toilet is about. So, Tim, on the topic of toilets, what did we originally want?
Right, yeah, so if you have seen our video on how much our narrowboat cost, you will remember that when we were in search of a narrowboat, we were sure that we wanted a pump-out toilet. And the main reason we wanted a pump-out was because that's the longest time you wait between emptying. It's about 6 to 8 weeks. It stores it in a big tank under your bed, and a vacuum just comes and sucks it out. But then when we were actually looking for boats, we saw this boat, the Marielle, we loved her, and we found out she had a different kind of toilet. She had a cassette, but we didn't care. We loved this boat so much we thought we were going to buy it anyway. The thing with a cassette is that's like a bucket and chuck it, and each bucket or a cassette gets filled up around every sort of 5 days for us, so, and we have 2 of them, so it's every 10 days we have to empty it, and then you have to empty it at a particular emptying point, which is called an LSAN point.
So it wouldn't be a chugging along video if we didn't explore the numerous pros and cons of having a compost toilet. So one of the first pros is disposal, basically, and just easier disposal. As Tim's already hinted, with our cassette toilet we have to go to specific points, LSAN points, where we can actually get rid of the waste in the cassette. Obviously with a compost toilet, if you've got the liquids in the bottle and if you've got the solids in the bag, in theory you should have more freedom for how you can dispose of the waste. So that's one big pro we can think of. Yeah, definitely. Just not being a slave to that LSAN point is a massive, massive plus, because you have to kind of plan, you know, your whole journeys around it and everything like that. For example, at the moment where we are 4 locks and a swing bridge away from an LSAN point at the moment. So yeah, even if we did want to empty our cassettes, we would still have a few hours to get there, really. So yeah, and to get back as well, and to turn around and get back. It's almost a full day just to empty the cassettes out. Yeah, so just but then, for example, there are bins everywhere and there are bushes everywhere. So yeah. I suppose another pro also would be, now this isn't true of all chemicals that you use to clean out a cassette or a pump out toilet, but most of them do contain formaldehyde, and it's not a very nice chemical, and they also contain other chemicals that you use to try and clean them out. And I mean, we've tried our best to make sure we can not come into contact with the chemicals that much, but it's quite hard to avoid. I mean, they do smell quite nice, to be honest with you. I mean, I didn't notice them. I mean, I didn't drink it. They just smelled them, and they smelled quite nice. So I think they're designed to smell very nice. All the chemicals they pump in, there's a reason why. It smells like slush puppies. You know, I quite liked it. Right. Anyway, so we're hoping that with a compost toilet we can avoid using any of those nasty chemicals. Just better for the environment, I suppose, and for our health. True. Yeah. Especially if you're inhaling all those chemically fumes. Yeah, exactly. Slush puppy. Yeah. And what about another pro? Another pro, oh yeah, is that also on an environmental issue, is that the fact that the compost toilet is waterless. Yeah. So our cassette toilet, it was plumbed in still, so it did have a button where the flush would sort of release water and things like that. With this compost, it's waterless, and when you are living on a narrowboat, water is stored in a big tank sort of under all of us here, and that is quite a precious thing as well, because you have to go to a special point to fill it up with a hose. So this, anything that saves us water is a positive as well. Yeah, I mean, we're quite good with saving water in general. We're not usually leaving taps running for longer than they have to. Or, no, true. You know, have a military shower as well. Oh yes, 1 minute is enough. Yeah. So we're very good with using water. But we have heard some people in other videos who've mentioned that once they've actually gone compost, it's made a massive difference to their water consumption. Yeah, so it'll be interesting to see actually. Might get a few more cups of tea out of it actually. That's true. Yeah, maybe we could have a 1.5 minute shower. You never know. Luxury. Yeah. And then the final pro is, if you're that way inclined, obviously the waste, once it has been fully composted, which can take some time, I think about 3 to 6 months, but if you are happy to store the waste and compost it, you can use it. You can use it to help grow your own if you want to, or maybe pass it on to a friend who grows their own. So that, if there are any friends out there, anyone we know who would be happy to have our materials, we'd be more than happy to donate them, wouldn't we? Yeah. Yeah, definitely.
I made it feel weird about the How am I weird about saying blue smells like slush puppies? What the hell are you talking about?
Well, it's all natural, isn't it, really?
I thought I was the hippie. Jesus.
So let's move on to the cons, because there are always cons associated. So, the first con that we came across when researching about compost toilets is there can be a bit of a smell at times, which is understandable.
But then you see that from every kind of toilet. You see that narrowboaters say that kind of toilet smells. People think that the toilet that they have doesn't smell, and they think every other the other kinds of toilets do. So,
well, that's true. That's true. You know, people will say that in general about just toilets. So, but there are ways in which you can actually eliminate any smells with the compost toilet. There are many different natural ways you can use. We've seen things like vinegar and sugar, which can be used as well. We're quite lucky because the model that we've got for our compost toilet actually comes with a 12-volt fan, which helps to extract any smells, and it's also got a carbon filter attached to that, so that helps to neutralise any odours. So as far as smells go, we should be all right, I think.
We should be all right, yeah. You have to replace that carbon filter every year, don't you?
Yeah,
so if we replace that every year, keep that 12-volt fan on as much as we can, then yeah, we should be all right.
Yeah, we should be fine. So that's one con. Can you think of another con?
Well, another con is just about everything is separate. So it's just you basically, instead of dealing with emptying the toilet, you've sort of got two separate entities. To make it sound like sugar and spice and all things nice, we'll just separate it into, we've got a nice jar of honey and a box of chocolates.
Oh,
so that's how you separate.
I guess the final con that we've got as well is that for some people, the idea of having waste on your boat for quite a long period of time might be quite off-putting. I mean, it depends. Depends on who you are as a boater and how you are as a person. But some people like the idea of a cassette because after a few days they can just get rid of their waste and then have a fresh new cassette back on the boat. But that being said, you have waste in other ways. You've got rubbish on your boat. You might have other waste that's just lying around. And some people, you know, they might fill up one cassette, and if they've got a few others, they will still store those cassettes on the boat.
Well, we've had to, haven't we? Yeah, we thought when we first got the cassette, we got two cassettes. We're like, oh, well, we're never going to use both of them. We're not just going to leave a full cassette on the bow of the boat. Like, yeah, that is absolutely rank. And then 2 weeks later, we're like, okay, we have no choice but to store that cassette. And then it just becomes normal, doesn't it? So
I think that's it. It might not be to everyone's liking, the idea of having your waste in the loo sitting for a bit longer than what you might be used to with a cassette toilet.
In theory, you could empty it as often as you want because there's so many bins. Everywhere's got bins, so in theory, we could empty it. Well, I'll empty it as
I'm helping. That's part of the reason why we got it.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
I'm very happy to help out with this.
You saved that to tell me on the video because you never told me before.
I want to see your reaction at that moment, and it's been absolute gold.
Believe it when I see it, yeah.
Tim, with all the different types of compost toilets out there, which one did we decide to go with?
Yes, so we went with a brand called Simploo, and actually we got the idea through the other boating YouTubers called Boating Beyond. Yeah, they made a great video about that, and thank you very much for the recommendation if you happen to be watching. So yeah, cheers. So yeah, it's a company, they're based in Datchet, which is near Windsor. So yeah, you never know, Her Majesty herself might be joining the compost green revolution very shortly, I think,
It'll be a very different type of throne that she'll be sitting on then, won't it?
It will indeed.
Very green one.
Yes. Well, the royal family needs some good PR, don't they? Maybe that could be the thing. So let's talk about the numbers. How much did our Simploo cost?
Well, depending on all the different add-ons that you want to have with your main Simploo, we decided to go with just the main Simploo toilet itself, and that cost £309, and that we went with a 12-volt version because obviously we're not connected to a 240-volt shoreline power, so that's why I went with the 12-volt version. And we also got the carbon filter, which costs £35 to help eliminate all the bad odours, and with delivery and shipping also coming up at £25, it was a grand total of £369 for our Simploo, which I think was quite good. But depending on what other types of add-ons you want with your Simploo, the cost can vary. So
yeah, it can vary. And it was one of the cheaper ones that we saw, wasn't it? On the compost toilet scale.
Oh yeah, definitely. So many
you can pay over £1,000 for a compost toilet.
Can you imagine a compost loo for £1,000? All singing and dancing.
I know, yeah, that would be good if it did that. It can join in on the songs of us. That would be good. Yeah. And also, yeah, just want to mention about Simploo that they have amazing customer service. Yeah, Kate, who works there, was particularly helpful. And
very helpful.
Yeah, so if you are looking to do it, then yeah, get on the phone and you're in great hands. So yeah, also, if you happen to be watching, cheers, Kate.
Cheers, Kate. What would you say is your main reason for why we've decided to go compost?
Yeah, well, I would say in summary, just convenience. More places to empty it out means less sort of quests to empty.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, do you agree with that?
Oh, I do, 100%. I mean, that, and then also, I'd say, poor you. Because it was always on you having to empty out the cassette toilets, and you know, it's not a really nice job, but someone has to do it. So hopefully now with having a compost toilet, we can both share responsibilities.
Well, just so yeah, I know, so that's very kind of you. Well, just so you know, I would have always have done that, and I wouldn't have minded at all.
Oh,
so,
really?
Yeah, that's absolutely fine. Yeah. Because we're going like the clappers to change our crapper from cassette to compost on our boat. Our green machine, environmentally clean, from cassette to compost on our boat. Easy to install with minimal tools, from cassette to compost on our boat. No more Elsan, no more disposal plans, from cassette to compost on our boat. It's a growing trend, so tell your friends, from cassette to compost on our boat. We've gone like the clappers, we've changed our crapper, and now we can keep chugging on Marielle.
We've only actually used our new compost loo a couple of times, so we can't actually do a full review as to how it's going so far, but we've got plans, once we've actually given it a few more goes, to actually sit down and to make a video to go through that with you, to let you know how we're actually getting on with it.
Yes, you saw our 1 month cruise-versary, maybe we can do a 1 month compost-versary.
That's a good one.
Thank you very much for watching today's video all the way to the end. Yeah, if you've got any questions, leave them in the comments. Any suggestions for future videos, leave them in the comments. We're thinking we could do a video about doing some cooking on top of the fireplace. That could be quite interesting, so stay tuned for that. And remember guys, no matter what you do in life, you've got to keep chugging.